Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, I've done part of a video, I haven't released it yet, on daggers, and something interrupted me and I wasn't quite finished with it. And then I went out and did some shorts and short videos, and one of them I was using this thing because first I started using this medieval eating utensil, which is basically like a square nail that's sharpened. But this is something different. It came with this sheath, and this sheath is designed not to be worn on the hip. It's designed to be worn on the wrist. It's a wrist sheath, and the way this thing sits in there is like that, and it's attached to your wrist like this. And in theory, you can pull it out with one hand from the inside of your forearm. So a lot of times, what this is it's an OSS or an SOE, like Special Forces type thing in World War II, assassination weapon. And if you look at it, it's got, fullers or blood grooves or whatever you want to call them along each side. And this thing is well designed, man. It's flat here, so it carries well. These edges are sharp, but not razor sharp, because it's a piercing weapon. And during war, it derived from World War I trench knives. And there were things before that, that were pointed, pointed sticks, spears, and stuff like that. And why this shape? Why do they go with this shape? Why do they go with something, like this? It's because what gets through dense material, if you're going to sew leather, do you use a ball peen hammer? No, you use a needle. And what is a needle? A needle has got a very fine point. Now, a needle has also got a very thin body. Now, these things are basically, it's like an offshoot of a drill or something like that. The ones that are twisted. They have some that are twisted. Now, in World War I, there was a Geneva Convention thing. They were trying to ban the use of a lot of things that people still used anyway. And one of them was triangular bladed weapons, serrated edges, stuff like that, or barbs, And they were trying to say that it's inflicting cruel and unusual type of wounds. It's inhumane. And the reason is, if you get stuck with one of these, it's hard to stitch up. A triangular cut is very hard to stitch up, and it's easy to get infected. And then it's not just going, on the surface. It's going through and hitting internal organs, severing stuff. And these things act like knife blades. You just take this and you just sharpen this flat. And you go on this, it's a triangle. You set it on another edge and you sharpen it flat. And you sharpen it flat. And this part up here is dull. But as you get up to here, it's not hair shaving sharp. I haven't sharpened or anything. But it's like a bayonet. The reason, spike bayonet. The reason behind it, and a nail. When you want to drive something through wood, what do you use? A drill or a nail, something that will go through it. It's designed to penetrate. It's not designed. This is not designed as a slashing weapon, and really, it's well thought out, because this end right here, when you go to stab, is a lot better than this one when you go to stab. But this one is also good. It wasn't designed for it. What the same way. What do you go through ice with? An ice pick. Now, see, this guy's kind of a. It's also not sharpened, but it has that, raised kind of almost triangular, but this is almost more of a dagger type of shape. But it's not sharpened. But it's designed to, penetrate. And if you watch some of those videos where, now the ones where I'm talking funny, I've sped it up by 1.5 speed. I can put a regular one up later on of me doing it in regular speed, but really, if you get into an ice pick grip and you just start stabbing, man, you can inflict a lot of punctures into something pretty quick. Same way with like this, you know, puncture. If you're just thinking I'm going to Pokemon, and in World War II, if you were caught with one of these, you could be shot. I mean, they catch you with certain type of weapons. You know, they catch you with stuff. Now, you know, the OSS, the spies and everything, they could be shot anyway. They're, you know, soldiers operating in different uniforms or not in uniform. So, and that law was, it was illegal for soldiers to use it in warfare. It's not. It, of course, you know, it depends on your laws in your state and everything. It's just like with daggers and all that other stuff. I'll put some different pictures up and all that, but this basically derived from a World War II assassination type of weapon. And if you know what you're doing and you get punctured, you know, in the right places, anything will work. You know, it doesn't have to be that elaborate. It can be something like this. It can be a sharpened nail. You know, that's why all these stupid laws against knives and everything else are stupid, because you can fashion homemade weapons that will still do what you're trying to prevent people from doing, which is harming other people. And it's not the weapon, it's not the thing that harms other people. This is an eating utensil. Or is it? Or is it an OSS assassination dagger? Well, it all depends on how it's being used. If all you're assassinating is your steak, you know, then there's nothing illegal about that. If you're going against another human being, yeah. Now, even though it's perfectly legal for me to carry one of these for use as self-defense in the state of Texas and everything, would I want to carry it and use it? No. Why? Well, it's limited. It's limited to piercing only. And then secondly, you've got to think about afterwards. If it's anything goes and there are no laws, then yeah, you do whatever you want to do. But if you're going to be tried by anyone, man, they're going to have a field day with this. Not only did he pick a weapon, you know, that would inflict damage, he picked a weapon that he knew was going to be hard to treat and easy, most likely to maim and kill, more dangerous, you know, just like they always go off on. Sorry, I grabbed the microphone. Is that more dangerous than, you know, a regular Tonto blade? Is it really? You know, because as far as like matter of speed goes out, that one's ready. All I do is pull it out of the sheath, you know. So laws are ridiculous, but all I'm saying on these are piercing weapons, you know, triangular blade knives and stuff. When you see them, a lot of times, spike and all that, that's their purpose. Their purpose is not to baton through wood. They're not, you know, you could try to use one as a throwing weapon. You know, it's not gonna cut you when you're holding this, because I haven't got this razor sharp. And if all you're trying to do is, but see, it's the amount of force behind it. When you throw this, then you just got the mass of the thing. But when you're holding it in your hand, you got the force of your whole body. And that's why when you have a needle right here, if you go to push it through leather, you better have an awl or one of those things, you know, metal shield in your hand to help push it through, because if it can penetrate, it's going to be pushing back on your hand also. So yeah, you just have to keep that in mind, that they're limited. The lawyers would have a field day if you ever did use one in self-defense. And to me, it's a novelty thing. You know, this is back when I got, you know, just like this, throwing stars. If you ever use one of these, they're not going to inflict, they're more like a startle type of thing. they're not going to inflict a lot of damage. Depends on where they hit. I mean, they could put an eye out, I guess. You better watch out. You better put that down. You could put an eye out with it. But, yeah. So, that's the thing behind that. You have to be up close. And if you think about it, a lot of the stuff from World War II were banned, all right? Brass knuckles. Why? Because they did a lot of damage. Well, what do you want to do when you're up close and personal and you're, in its hand-to-hand or hand weapons, handheld weapons? Well, that's when, short maneuverable things worked out well. Double-edged blade or a triangular blade, like they have got pictures of World War I ones where they got the same handle as this, but they've got a triangular blade, mounted on it. And it's basically a spike. It, it has some of those little grooves in it sometimes, but not always. Sometimes it's just a nail. Well, man, that thing, that'll go through clothing, all kinds of stuff, armor, a certain amount of armor, So they're wicked, They're designed to do one thing, and they do it well. And they're basically an improved ice pick. And ice picks have been used as assassination weapons for a while, primitive tools, again. So, yeah, if you know what you're doing and you know what parts of the human anatomy to attack and stuff, something as simple as a metal pin, it's got a sharpened point, can penetrate. There you go. That's my little take on those things. I'll throw up some different pictures I took from the internet. I didn't watch a lot of people's videos. I'm sure there are more people more expert on the history of the OSS sleeve dagger and all this other stuff. I just wanted to show you, give you a little bit more history behind this thing, the one that I got. I probably got it from Bud K or Atlanta Cutlery or one of those places or something like that. Because I think I got this in like the 80s, maybe the 90s. No, it had to be the 80s, I believe. And it's called the Fury, even though it's not the same as the other Fury. Oh, it might be. It's made in China. It might be the same as that other Fury. This one is it's like a copy of the Smith & Wesson, but the Smith & Wesson hostage rescue dagger is probably made in the same factory as this one, or but it's pretty decent, man. The Smith & Wesson one I think usually goes for around $20 or $30, and you can get this one for I think like 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 or somewhere around there. But the concept is the same, behind a dagger. Those were illegal too for the longest time, and still are in a lot of places for some reason. To me, I think that's one of the silliest things, because that's just a matter of personal preference to me, whether or not you like a double-edged blade or not. For something small and up close, or for something where you never know which way you're going to need to slash, yeah, they're pretty handy. But usually, you get more strength in the spine. This is getting off into my double-edged dagger one, that I was talking about. But still, you have more strength in the spine if you eliminate narrowing this down to another edge too. So that's why they usually have a nice, fairly thick join in the middle that gives it almost a, a triangular shape or something. That's not really a triangle, because it raises up. You'd need another edge. You'd need a third edge. But yeah, there you go. And you could still use this as a skull awakener, like if you don't want to really maim them or whatever, you can use it like a pressure point thing. But like I said, I wouldn't necessarily carry one of these around as a self-defense thing. Sharpened screwdriver, why you got that screwdriver? It's basically the same concept. Urban weapons. So there you go. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.
Goodbye. What about fast? What about fast? No, must be slow. Like that. Like that. Is that slow? No, that is too fast. You must go slow, like this. Penetrate. See? Slow. Penetrate. See? No, that's too slow. That's too slow. Too slow. Slow. You go slow, like this. You see? Slow. 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 Shut up, dog!